chosen one, anchor your spirit to every word I'm about to say right now. That restlessness you have been carrying, the one that feels like fire in your chest that will not go out, stop running from it. Because what you have been feeling is not anxiety, it is activation. The enemy has been working overtime against you this week for one reason and one reason only. He knows what you were born to do. And he knows that the moment you understand your true assignment, his reign in your life is finished. You did not stumble onto this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. The Holy Spirit did. This is a divine appointment, written into the fabric of your destiny before the foundations of the earth were laid. You are standing at the threshold of the most important revelation of your life. Stay until the very last second, because in the next few minutes, I am going to hand you the legal decree that identifies the specific demonic assignment that has been operating against your life. I am going to walk you through the exact moments this week where you were already fighting and did not know it. And at the end, I am going to give you the declaration that arms you, seals your assignment, and sends the enemy into retreat permanently. Do not click away. Your future self is on the other side of this message, fully armed, fully dangerous, fully free. If you leave now, you walk back into a battlefield without knowing you are a warrior. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. It has not just been heavy, it has been suffocating, like something invisible has been pressing down on your chest, and you cannot find the source. Maybe you woke up at 3 hours in the morning this week with your heart pounding, lying in the dark, feeling a war in the atmosphere that you could not name. Or maybe you found yourself sitting completely still in the middle of an ordinary moment, washing dishes, driving in silence, standing in a room full of people, and a thought hit you so hard it stopped your breathing. The thought that something is wrong, that you are running out of time, that there is something you were supposed to do and you have not done it yet. You feel caught between two worlds, like you are standing in a doorway and something is pulling you through, but something else has its hands around your ankles dragging you back. And in that tension, the enemy has been whispering a very specific lie directly into your mind. Listen to your thoughts. He has been telling you that the exhaustion you feel is evidence that you are not strong enough, that the mistakes you made this week, the moments you lost your temper, the moments you gave in, the moments you went silent when you should have spoken and spoke when you should have stayed quiet. He has been using every single one of those moments as evidence in a court case against your destiny. He has been telling you that a warrior does not stumble, that a chosen one does not fail like you have failed, that because of what happened, you have disqualified yourself from the mission. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about your assignment. Ephesians 6:12 says, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places." Listen to what that verse is actually telling you. The battle you are in is not against the person who hurt you, not against the situation that blindsided you, not against your own weakness. You are in a war against a principality, a ranked, organized, strategic demonic force that has had a specific assignment against your life. And here is what that means for you right now. You cannot be losing a war you did not know you were in and call that failure. You were ambushed. You did not fall. You were hit. There is a difference. The enemy has been pointing to your stumbles this week as proof that you are disqualified. But the truth that silences that lie is this: the fact that you are still standing, still breathing, still searching, still fighting to understand what is happening to you. That is not the behavior of someone who has been defeated. That is the behavior of a soldier who just realized they are in a war. The restlessness in your chest is not anxiety. It is your spirit recognizing its enemy, and demanding that you pick up your weapon. Think back to that moment this week when you pulled away, when you chose not to react, when something in you refused to engage, refused to be dragged into the chaos, refused to give the situation what it was demanding from you. You thought that was weakness. You thought you should have done more, said more, fought harder in the natural, but you did not know it then. That restraint was not retreat. That was a spiritual maneuver. That was you operating under a wisdom that was not your own. That was the Holy Spirit moving you off the battlefield before the ambush detonated. You did not ruin your mission. You survived the ambush. The heaviness you feel right now is not the weight of failure. It is the weight of readiness. It is the tension of a warrior being fitted for armor they have never worn before. It is the pressure that lives in the moment, right before a soldier crosses the line from recruit to weapon. You are not starting over. You are suiting up. Hit the like button if this message landed in your spirit with the weight of truth. Drop a comment below. What is one moment this week where something pulled you back from a reaction and you are only now beginning to wonder if that was God moving you out of the way? Now I want to take you somewhere deeper, because what I just described, the ambush, the armor, the moment you realized you are in a war, that is only the entry point. Most people stop there. They receive the revelation that they are in a battle, and they think that is the whole message, the final chapter of their spiritual narrative. They linger in the echoes of the conflict, the dust of the skirmish, mistakenly believing that the struggle itself defines their journey. They become inhabitants of the battlefield, their gaze fixed on the enemy's movements, their energy consumed by defensive maneuvers, never lifting their eyes to the horizon that God intended. But the battle, as fierce and undeniable as it may be, is not the destination. The battle is merely the corridor. It is a narrow, often dark and sometimes deafening passage, filled with the clamor of spiritual warfare and the shadows of doubt. This corridor, though challenging, is designed to be a temporary transit, a pathway, not a permanent dwelling. And you, my friend, were never designed to live in the corridor, to set up residence amidst the fray. Your spirit, woven with divine purpose and imbued with immense potential, was designed to walk through it, to emerge on the other side into something so magnificent, so profound, so deeply connected to your truest self and to heaven's grand design, that the enemy has been working for years with relentless precision and cunning to keep you from ever seeing it, from ever even glimpsing the light that awaits beyond this temporary passage. He wants you to believe the corridor is all there is, that the battle defines your entire existence, ensuring you remain trapped in perpetual conflict, distracted from the promised land of your calling. Some messages don't just inform, they activate. If something stirred deep in your spirit just now, you may be ready to receive the Chosen One's blueprint. This sacred guide reveals the 8 divine patterns behind your calling, your suffering, and your destiny. It also comes with the full audiobook, so you can absorb it during prayer, rest, or quiet moments with God. And for those called to speak His truth, you'll also receive Activating Your Prophet Mantle, a powerful bonus ebook for those carrying a prophetic assignment. The link is in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. Now stay with me. Lean in a little closer, for what you are about to hear will not just offer a new perspective, but will fundamentally reframe everything that has happened to you, not just in the recent intensity of this week, but across the entire tapestry of your life, from your earliest memories to this very moment. It's time to gather the scattered pieces of your story and see them not as random fragments, but as deliberate brushstrokes in a masterpiece you are still becoming. Here is the first thing you need to understand, a foundational truth that will shake loose many of the false narratives you may have unconsciously adopted. The enemy does not attack average. He never has. Darkness, in its infinite malice and strategic precision, does not mobilize its most organized, its most strategic, its most persistent, its most cunning forces against someone who poses no tangible, enduring threat to the very foundations of the kingdom of hell. Think of it. A general does not dispatch his elite special forces, his most seasoned warriors, his most devastating weapons against a lone, unarmed villager. No, he reserves that kind of formidable power for a target of immense strategic value, a leader, a key stronghold, a burgeoning movement that threatens his reign. The level of intense warfare you have experienced, not just in the discernible trials of this week, but across the vast expanse of your entire life, the relentless waves of opposition, the inexplicable setbacks, the crushing weights that seem to come from nowhere, is not, I repeat, not random. It is not some cosmic roll of the dice. It is not mere bad luck, a series of unfortunate coincidences. It is not karma catching up to you, some invisible cosmic ledger balancing out past transgressions. No. It is targeted intelligence. You have been meticulously studied. You have been carefully tracked across time and space. The enemy, discerning the immense spiritual power and divine assignment within you, has assigned a principality to your life, a high-ranking spiritual force, not a minor, easily dispelled spirit, but a principality. This is a strategic deployment, a recognition of your true potential. He has placed this formidable adversary against you precisely because what lives inside of you, the anointing, the calling, the divine blueprint of your very being, if ever fully awakened and fully deployed, would not merely cause a ripple. It would dismantle structures of darkness that have stood for generations in your family line, in your city, in your nation, and within this very generation. Your awakening threatens the very architecture of his dark empire. Therefore, the attack itself, the very ferocity and persistence of the opposition you have faced, is not evidence of your weakness, your failure, or your inadequacy. On the contrary, it is the most honest, most unequivocal testimony to your divine assignment that the enemy has ever, perhaps unwittingly, given you. It is his perverse confirmation that you are a force to be reckoned with. A chosen vessel carrying a light that threatens to expose and dissolve his deepest strongholds. Consider it a dark medal of honor, a testament to the weight of glory you carry, a whispered acknowledgement from the adversary that you are a truly dangerous and powerfully purposed individual in the spiritual realm. But here is where it goes deeper, far deeper than most spiritual insights dare to venture. Because knowing you are under attack, being aware of the spiritual battles raging around you, is one thing. It's like seeing the storm clouds gather on the horizon. Understanding what that attack has been specifically designed to do, its precise objective and intricate strategy, is an entirely different level of discernment. And this, my friend, is the critical layer that most people never reach, the missing piece of the puzzle, which is exactly why they so often stay stuck, trapped in inexplicable cycles of frustration, delay, and unfulfilled potential, bewildered by patterns they cannot decipher or explain. They fight the battle, but they don't understand the war's true aim. The demonic assignment against your life, with all its cunning and relentless pressure, has not primarily been trying to destroy you. If outright annihilation, if total destruction was the ultimate goal, if the enemy truly intended to simply erase you from existence, then let me tell you this with unwavering certainty. You would not be here right now. You have survived things that, by all human and logical measures, should have ended you. You have walked away from situations, from emotional wreckage, from spiritual onslaughts, from betrayals and losses, that statistically should have broken you permanently, leaving you utterly shattered and irreparable. You are a living testament to resilience, a survivor etched with divine grace. The enemy, for all his malice, is not unintelligent. He knows with chilling precision that he cannot simply erase you, for the spirit within you is too strong, the calling on your life too deeply inscribed by the hand of God. So, recognizing his inability to achieve total destruction, he shifted his strategy a long time ago. This was not a sudden pivot, but a calculated, insidious change in approach. And this, beloved soul, is the part that will either set you profoundly free, liberating you from years of misinterpretation and self-blame, or it will sting you deeply, exposing a truth that may feel uncomfortable, depending entirely on how honest and courageous you are willing to be with yourself in this moment of piercing revelation. The primary assignment against your life has been an assignment of delay. Not destruction, but delay. Think about that for a moment. Let that truth settle into the deep recesses of your understanding. Delay. It's a subtle poison, a slow erosion of hope. Now, let your mind wander back. Think about the version of yourself that existed 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even just 2 years ago. The one who had the vivid vision, the one who felt the undeniable calling burning in their spirit, the one who took the courageous, trembling first step towards that divine destiny. You remember that vibrant self, don't you? The one brimming with pure conviction and audacious faith. And then something happened. Not a thunderous crash, not an obvious, catastrophic derailment that you could easily point to. Instead, it was something far more insidious, something subtle enough to escape immediate detection, subtle enough to feel like it was your own fault, a failing within yourself. Perhaps it was a distraction that seemed perfectly reasonable, even justifiable at the time, a glittering, ephemeral pursuit that promised much but ultimately delivered little, pulling your gaze away from the true north of your calling. Or maybe it was a relationship, seemingly meaningful and filled with potent connection, that slowly, almost imperceptibly, pulled your energy, your focus, your very life force in a direction that felt significant in the moment, but, in hindsight, left you emptier, more depleted, and further from your authentic path than before. Or perhaps it manifested as a decision that looked like wisdom, dressed in the respectable garments of spiritual language and prudent planning, but was, in its deepest truth, an act of avoidance, a sophisticated procrastination born of fear. It could have been a season of rest, a necessary pause for rejuvenation that slowly, insidiously, became a season of hiding, a comfortable cocoon that transformed into a spiritual prison, keeping you sequestered from the very purpose for which you were created. And somehow, through these subtle shifts and unexpected turns, here you are today, still carrying the same foundational dream, the embers of the same divine fire still glowing faintly within your spirit. But you are older now, perhaps a little wearier, and quietly, persistently haunted by the agonizing question of whether it is now simply too late. The enemy whispers, "You missed it. Your time has passed." I need you to hear this next thing very carefully, with every fiber of your being, because it is one of the most important, most liberating truths I will utter in this entire message. Delay is not denial. Let that reverberate through your spirit. The postponement of a promise, the deferral of a vision, the extended waiting period, is not, in the eyes of heaven, a rejection or a cancellation of your divine appointment. But the enemy, being a master of deception and psychological warfare, has been tirelessly, cunningly, working to convince you that it is. He has been pouring whispers into your ear, painting distorted pictures in your mind, weaving a narrative that conflates the pause with the permanent termination. Because if he can successfully get you to interpret your delay as God's definitive rejection, as an immutable no from the Almighty, then he does not have to expend any further energy trying to destroy your calling. You, in your despair and misinterpretation, will abandon it yourself. You will lay down your divine mandate, convinced that the hand of God has simply moved on from you. This is precisely what happened to Moses in the wilderness. And I'm not speaking of the monumental wilderness journey after he led the Israelites out of Egypt, the grand saga etched in scripture. I mean the first wilderness, the 40 long, arduous years he spent on the backside of the desert in Midian after he fled from Pharaoh's wrath. 40 years of profound silence. 40 years of what appeared to be utter irrelevance, a stark contrast to his princely beginnings. From the gilded halls of Pharaoh's palace, a royal upbringing, the promise of power and influence, he plummeted to the dusty, windswept pasture, tending sheep, a humble shepherd in a land far from his destiny. And during those seemingly wasted 40 years, the enemy's primary strategy was not to kill Moses, for he was divinely protected. No, the enemy's more insidious strategy was to wait, to let the silence itself speak, to allow the vast, empty expanse of time to become the lie that slowly choked out hope. Because every year that passed without a burning bush, every solitary sunset over the Midianite hills, without a thunderous voice from heaven, felt like an agonizing confirmation that maybe he had fundamentally missed it. Maybe he was never truly chosen. Maybe the fiery impulse that drove him to act against the Egyptian taskmaster had been nothing more than his own fleshly zeal, an unanointed ambition, and perhaps God, in his infinite wisdom, had simply moved on to another vessel. The enemy's whispers would have been deafening. You are forgotten. You are insignificant. Your moment has passed. But what the enemy did not know, what his limited, corrupted understanding could never fully account for, is that those 40 years were not abandonment. They were not a punishment. They were, in the grand, intricate, and perfect design of God, a profound season of formation. God was not punishing Moses in that desolate wilderness. On the contrary, God was meticulously, lovingly removing from Moses everything that Egypt had put in him, everything that a life of privilege and human power had instilled, which would have made him dangerously ill-equipped or even destructive in the wrong direction had he been deployed prematurely. He was stripping out the arrogant pride of a self-sufficient prince, chiseling away the reliance on his own strength and intellect, and in its place, depositing the profound patience, the compassionate humility, and the deep, unwavering reliance on God that would be absolutely essential for a deliverer of millions. He was trading the swift, impulsive action of a young man for the steadfast, enduring wisdom of a true shepherd of souls. It was a divine metamorphosis, unseen by human eyes, but deeply significant to his destiny. And that, my beloved friend, is precisely what has been happening to you. The very years you, in your human frailty, have called wasted, filled with regret and self-recrimination, were in the omniscient view of heaven years you were being intricately built, your spiritual architecture being strengthened, your foundations deepened, your character refined. The seasons you tragically labeled as silence, as periods of divine absence or cosmic neglect, were in reality seasons when God was doing profound interior work within your spirit, a sacred, unseen renovation, chiseling away the superfluous, reinforcing the essential, planting seeds that no one else could see because it was not for anyone else's eyes yet. It was a private, intimate process of sculpting and preparing. The people who, without explanation or farewell, walked away from you, leaving behind a wound of abandonment, the opportunities that seemed so promising only to mysteriously fall through your grasp, the doors that slammed shut in your face, sealing off avenues you believed were divinely ordained. Those were not rejections from heaven, though they felt like devastating blows. No, those were carefully orchestrated redirections. Heaven, in its infinite wisdom and protective love, was safeguarding the sacred integrity of the assignment on your life by steadfastly refusing to let you carry its immense weight and profound responsibility before you were truly ready, before you had the spiritual fortitude to hold the weight of it without breaking under its pressure. Each closed door was a divine shield, each departure a strategic pruning, preparing you for a harvest far richer than you could have imagined. Coming up in just a moment, we will confront the hidden agreement you unknowingly made somewhere in the middle of all that delay, all that silence, all that perceived waiting. It's an agreement you did not even realize you were making, a silent covenant forged in the crucible of your spiritual journey. And understanding why that agreement exists is the real, often unaddressed reason. The breakthrough keeps stopping just short of you, just beyond your grasp, like a mirage on the horizon. Stay with me, because this is the pivotal part, the moment of truth that has the power to shatter and break every limiting cycle that has held you captive. But first, before we dive into that crucial revelation, this profound truth has to truly land, to penetrate past your intellect and settle into the very core of your being. You have been reading your history wrong. You have been interpreting your past experiences, your trials, your setbacks, your perceived failures through a flawed and darkened lens. The lens of what you lost, the lens of what was taken, the lens of what didn't happen, instead of the glorious transformative lens of what was being meticulously built within you. And when you read your story exclusively through the lens of loss, a lens often clouded by grief, disappointment, and bitterness, everything, every single event, every solitary moment, tragically looks like irrefutable evidence of abandonment. The pit, where you felt discarded and forgotten, looks like divine punishment. The prison, where you felt confined and powerless, looks like undeniable failure. The agonizing silence where you yearned for a word from God but heard nothing looks like complete and utter rejection. You see the wounds, but not the scars of victory. But when you consciously choose to read it through the radiant lens of preparation, when you intentionally allow yourself the grace to see that every single season, every single twist and turn, every challenge and every quiet moment has been a necessary, intentional and perfectly timed layer of equipment being added to your spirit, a sharpening of your spiritual sword, a forging of your inner armor, a deepening of your spiritual roots. Then the same story, your very own narrative, Suddy, and Anelli transforms into something completely, breathtakingly different. It becomes a powerful, unshakable testimony, a saga of divine intervention and miraculous preservation that you have not been able to tell yet, not fully, because you are still gloriously inside of it, living it, breathing it, becoming it. You, my chosen one, are not languishing at the end of a broken story, a tragedy destined for oblivion. No, you are vibrantly, powerfully in the middle of a meticulously crafted redemption arc, a divine narrative so precisely constructed that even the enemy's most cunning, most vicious, most direct attacks have been masterfully repurposed and used by heaven as essential material, as building blocks for your greater glory and your ultimate victory. Nothing, absolutely nothing, has been wasted. Every tear, every struggle, every setback, every whispered lie is being woven into the fabric of your triumph. But here is where it goes even deeper, touching upon a truth so raw and so fundamental that it often lies buried beneath layers of spiritual activity and outward performance. And I want you to really sit with this, to allow it to penetrate beyond your intellectual understanding and resonate within the deepest chambers of your heart. Because this is the critical layer that most people, in their earnest pursuit of breakthrough, often skip over entirely, never quite dealing with what truly lies underneath it all, festering like an unaddressed wound. At some point during that long, arduous season, during the protracted delay, during the unsettling silence, during the confusing wilderness of waiting, you made a decision. It was not a decision you announced loudly, proclaiming it for all the world to hear. It was not even a decision you made consciously, with deliberate thought and logical reasoning, But nonetheless, you made it. You decided, somewhere deep within the intricate architecture of your belief system, in the very bedrock of your spiritual assumptions, that you simply could not fully trust God with the most sacred, most vulnerable, most precious thing inside of you. That sacred thing was your vision, your calling, your audacious dream that God Himself had placed within your spirit. You decided, in a moment of profound self-preservation, that if you held that dream too tightly, if you allowed yourself to want it too fully, to embrace its possibility with unbridled passion, if you opened yourself completely, utterly, to the exhilarating, terrifying possibility that it was truly real and unequivocally for you, and then after all that hopeful surrender, it still did not happen, it did not manifest, you simply would not survive that crushing disappointment. The pain would be too great, the spiritual devastation too complete. So, in a subconscious act of protective love for your own tender heart, you protected yourself. You erected subtle barriers. You kept one foot firmly planted in faith, praying, believing, declaring, but simultaneously kept one foot resolutely out, creating an escape route, a psychological safety net. You prayed fervently for the breakthrough. You declared the divine promise with your lips, but quietly, secretly, you began to build a meticulous backup plan, a contingency strategy, just in case God didn't come through. You passionately articulated the vision to others, but privately, within the secret confines of your heart, you hedged your belief, diluting the potent conviction with quiet reservations. You said a resounding yes to God with your words, and perhaps even with the initial stirrings of your spirit, but something deep behind your sternum, a guarded place within your emotional and spiritual core, held back. A part of you, wounded by past disappointments and terrified of future heartbreak, decided that a half-surrender, a partial commitment, was somehow a safer, more sustainable path than a full, unreserved, all-in surrender to the unknown. It felt like wisdom, but it was fear. And I want to tell you something now that might feel deeply uncomfortable to receive, a truth that might sting with its raw honesty, but it is a truth that you absolutely, unequivocally need to hear right now, in this very moment, to break free. That half-surrender, that carefully constructed self-protection, is not, in fact, protecting you. On the contrary, it is the very wall. It is the invisible, yet impenetrable barrier that has been actively, consistently creating the agonizing gap between where you currently are, in your present reality, and where you intrinsically know, deep in your spirit, you are supposed to be, where your destiny awaits. It's not the enemy's unyielding pressure that is solely responsible for this gap. It's not your past mistakes, as much as they may haunt you. It's not even the people who walked away or the opportunities that tragically closed. No, the wall is the part of you, the decision you made, that quietly, subconsciously decided that your own self-protection, your own carefully curated emotional defenses were ultimately more reliable, more trustworthy than the boundless, unfailing and all-sufficient divine provision of an omnipotent God. Let me be clear, this is not condemnation. This is not a finger of accusation pointed at your perceived failings. This is rather a precise diagnosis. It is the compassionate but firm hand of a spiritual physician, identifying the root cause of the blockage. Because you cannot truly heal what you have not first named, what you have not brought into the light of awareness. And once you name this hidden agreement, once you look at it squarely, honestly, without flinching, and call it precisely what it is, a wall of self-protection, a half-surrender born of fear, you instantaneously begin to take back the power that has been slowly, insidiously leaking out of your spirit through that unresolved tension, that unspoken distrust, that deeply embedded spiritual conflict. The power to move forward, to truly break through, is restored the moment you dare to be utterly honest. Coming up, the one counterintuitive, often terrifying thing that inevitably happens when you finally, completely release that grip, when you shatter that wall of half-surrender. And we will explore why it will often feel utterly terrifying, like stepping off a cliff, before it transforms into the most profound, unshakable freedom you have ever known. Do not go anywhere. Do not tune out, because what comes next is where the real, earth-shattering, soul-transforming transformation truly lives. This is the pivot point. Now, one of the most profoundly counterintuitive, yet utterly liberating truths in the entire architecture of faith is this. The breakthrough, the long-awaited manifestation of God's promise, the sudden unveiling of clarity and purpose, does not come when you finally manage to get strong enough, when you feel robust enough, resilient enough, or spiritually perfect enough to receive it. That's the world's logic, the ego's paradigm. No, it comes, paradoxically, when you finally get honest enough. When you cease the exhausting performance of readiness, when you stop trying to project an image of unwavering faith and spiritual fortitude, and instead, with raw vulnerability, start confessing the exact, precise place where your belief has a deep, undeniable crack in it. When you lay down the pretense of spiritual perfection and stop trying to impress heaven with your polished prayers and articulate declarations of faith, instead, you begin to bring heaven the unvarnished, authentic truth of where your faith is actually struggling, where it feels weak, where it has faltered, where doubt has crept in, where fear has taken root. Consider the poignant example of the Father in the Gospel of Mark, a man whose desperation for his suffering son transcended all social graces or spiritual performance. He brought his demon-possessed boy to Jesus, not with a confident, polished prayer, but with a raw, almost pleading cry, "If you can do anything, take pity on us and help us." And Jesus, ever the master of spiritual discernment, echoed his doubt back to him, saying, "If you can, everything is possible for one who believes." And what was the Father's response? He did not compose himself, trying to regain his dignity. He did not reach for lofty, impressive spiritual language or theological pronouncements. He did not attempt to perform a confidence he clearly did not possess in that moment of profound anguish. No. With tears streaming down his face, he uttered perhaps one of the most powerful, most devastatingly honest statements recorded in the entire Gospel account. "I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief." He confessed both his belief and his struggle, his faith and his fracture. That, my dear one, was not weakness. It was, in its profound authenticity and searing vulnerability, arguably the most powerful, most activating thing a human being said to Jesus in the entire gospel narrative, because it was completely, utterly, devastatingly honest. He did not hide the crack in his faith, did not attempt to paper over it with religious platitudes. He brought the crack. He presented his brokenness, his wrestling, his imperfect faith directly to the source of all power. And Jesus, in his infinite compassion and miraculous power, met him exactly at the point of his radical honesty, and he moved. The miracle followed the truth, not the perfect performance. So understand this: God is not waiting for you to possess perfect, unblemished, unwavering faith, a faith that never doubts, never falters, never questions. He knows your human limitations. He is waiting, with infinite patience and longing, for you to stop hiding your imperfect faith. He is waiting for you to bring him the actual, unvarnished condition of your heart, not the pristine, spiritualized condition you imagine he wants to see, not the curated version you present in prayer when you are performing for an imagined audience instead of communing intimately with your Creator, but the real one, the scared one, the tired one, the one that has believed for so long without visible evidence, without tangible manifestation, that a part of it has gone quietly numb, dulled by the weight of waiting. Bring that heart to Him. Bring your cracks, your fears, your doubts, your numbness, that raw, authentic vulnerability, that unreserved honesty, that unflinching truth. That is the offering He is waiting for. That is the true door to breakthrough. It is the key that unlocks the divine. And this leads us to something profound that most people miss entirely, a subtle but critical distinction that, if misunderstood, can send you spiraling back into old cycles. It's about the thing that happens after you walk through that door of radical honesty and genuine surrender. Because most people, conditioned by narratives of instant gratification and immediate relief, assume that once they surrender fully, once they release the grip of self-protection, once they bring God the honest, imperfect version of their faith, the very next thing that will happen is an overwhelming wave of relief. They expect immediate peace, crystal clear clarity, an instant download of understanding, and the breakthrough arriving dramatically like a breathtaking sunrise, illuminating every shadow. But often, and I say often, not always, because God is sovereign and moves in myriad ways, but often enough to be a critical teaching point, the very first thing that happens after genuine, courageous surrender is not immediate relief, but profound silence. Not the silence of abandonment, not the empty, chilling silence that once fueled your doubt and fear, but a different kind of silence. This is the silence of a new season beginning, the sacred hush before a grand symphony, the quiet gestation period before a new birth. It is a pregnant silence, filled with unseen activity and potential. And here is the crucial point. If you do not know deeply and experientially the difference between those two kinds of silence, the silence of abandonment versus the silence of a new season, you will, in your human inclination, misinterpret the new season's quietude as evidence that nothing has fundamentally changed, that your surrender was in vain, that you are still stuck. And in that moment of misinterpretation, driven by fear and old patterns, you will instinctively reach back for the grip you just released, pulling the wall back up, and the entire cycle of delay, self-protection, and unfulfilled potential will begin again, trapping you once more in its familiar, frustrating rhythm. This is precisely why Job, in all his bewildering suffering and ultimate triumph, is one of the most important figures in all of Scripture for anyone walking through a season of profound delay and inexplicable silence. Most people focus on the immense suffering Job endured, the catastrophic losses, the physical anguish, the emotional torment. But the true gem of Job's story, for our purposes here, lies not just in his suffering, but in what Job did in the agonizing, protracted silence between his suffering and his eventual glorious restoration. He did not perform peace, did not paste on a plastic smile or offer trite spiritual affirmations. He did not pretend he understood or was perfectly content. No. Job, in his raw, unvarnished humanity, argued with God. He demanded answers. He questioned the very framework of divine justice and purpose. He sat on the ash heap, utterly stripped of everything, and he was completely, almost scandalously, honest about how none of it, absolutely none of it, was making any sense whatsoever to his finite mind. And here is the miraculous, counterintuitive truth. God did not rebuke him for that searing honesty, for his relentless wrestling. On the contrary, when God finally showed up, appearing in a majestic whirlwind, he had far more to say to the man who fiercely argued, to the one who dared to question him with every fiber of his being, than he did to the friends who offered their well-meaning but ultimately hollow explanations and theological platitudes. God honored Job's authentic wrestling. Therefore, the invitation in this new generative silence is not to be still and pretend you are not in pain, not confused, not longing for answers. The invitation is instead to be still and profoundly present, fully present, with all of your swirling confusion and all of your aching longing and all of your unresolved questions, with your brokenness and your hope intertwined, and to trust with a radical, courageous faith that the very God who brought you this far, through every previous trial and every corridor of conflict, is doing something profound, something intricate, something magnificent in the unseen, a work so vast and so purposeful that your current limited perspective simply cannot yet contain or comprehend it. He is working, even when you perceive nothing but silence. Stay with me, lean in, because we are now approaching the most sensitive, most pivotal part of this entire message, the part that I know with absolute certainty the enemy does not want you to hear. And I say that not for dramatic effect, not to simply heighten the tension. I say it because what comes next is where the real breaking open happens, where the spiritual dam finally gives way and true, unhindered flow begins. And just when you think you have heard the most important part, just when you feel you've arrived at the summit of understanding, there is one more, even deeper layer underneath it all, a fundamental truth that will irrevocably change everything you thought you knew about your journey. Here is the unexpected thing. The truth that will likely sting with its raw candor before it ultimately sets you free, truly free, in a way you've never experienced. You have been diligently asking God to move on your behalf. You have been praying with fervent hope, declaring the promise with unwavering words, standing firmly on the written word of God. And all of that, every single one of those spiritual disciplines, is right. All of that is absolutely correct and essential. But underneath those earnest prayers, beneath those powerful declarations, undergirding that steadfast standing on the word, if you are truly, devastatingly honest with yourself, looking past all pretense, there has been a lingering, unspoken question that you have never fully dared to bring to the surface. A question that lives quietly, often unconsciously, beneath the layers of theology and the spiritual language and the warfare declarations you've so courageously made. And the question, the piercing, central question that dictates much of your experience, is this: do I actually, deep down in my heart of hearts, believe I am truly worthy of what I am believing God for? And when I speak of worthiness here, I'm not speaking of worthiness in the transactional sense of having earned it, as if you've accumulated enough good deeds or spiritual merits to deserve it. And I'm not speaking of worthiness in the superficial sense of deserving it, as if your inherent goodness somehow obligates God to act. No. I am speaking of worthiness in the deepest, most primal, most cellular sense of the word, the sacred, foundational place within your being where you feel your own intrinsic value, your inherent belovedness, not as a concept, but as a felt reality. It's the place where you truly know, in your bones, that you are deserving of divine goodness and grace, where you are able to receive love, truly receive it, without reservation or qualification, instead of just performing gratitude for it, as if you're constantly trying to prove your appreciation to secure more. It's the place where you can stand boldly, authentically in your calling, as though you actually belong there, as if you are precisely where you were always meant to be, instead of constantly waiting for someone, or even God himself, to correct the perceived mistake of choosing you, of anointing you. Because if that fundamental place of intrinsic worth is broken, if somewhere deep in the very foundation of your identity, in the blueprint of your being, there is a fracture, a subtle but significant crack in your sense of your own legitimacy, your divine right to exist and thrive, then every single breakthrough that begins to come toward you, every divine opportunity, every answered prayer, will be unconsciously filtered through that fracture. And what happens then is tragic. You will either subtly, often unknowingly, self-sabotage it before it fully arrives, pushing it away with fear, doubt, or avoidance, or you will unconsciously diminish it after it lands, minimizing its significance, struggling to fully embrace it, because some part of you, deep within, still believes that you do not quite, truly, honestly deserve to hold something this good, something this sacred, something this powerfully aligned with your destiny. This, my friend, is not about self-esteem in the shallow, worldly sense of simply feeling good about yourself. This is about something far more profound, far more eternal. This is about the very image of God in you, the Imago Dei. It's about your original, unblemished, divine design, the sacred imprint of your Creator that declares your inherent value and purpose. And the enemy, being the ancient adversary that he is, has known this from the very beginning of time. He has known that if he can effectively damage your understanding of your own divine origin, if he can cunningly convince you that the image of God in you is cracked beyond repair, or that your value is conditional, dependent on your performance, or that it constantly requires earning through endless striving, then he does not need to overtly stop your breakthrough. He doesn't need to physically block the blessings headed your way. Why? Because you, in your wounded identity and compromised belief, will hold it at arm's length yourself. You will become your own spiritual barrier, unable to fully step into the abundance that is rightfully yours by divine decree. So the deepest work, the most profound, most liberating, most essential work, the work that everything else in this entire message has been meticulously building toward, is not merely the powerful warfare declaration against the enemy's schemes. It is not just the courageous release of the grip of self-protection. It is not even simply the honest prayer of a broken heart, as vital as that may be. No, the deepest work, the true paradigm shift, is the agreement. It is the conscious, decisive, heart-level agreement that who God says you are in His infallible word and through His unfailing love is more true, more real, more foundational, and more eternally valid than every single lie, every single whisper, every single accusation, every single false narrative the enemy has spent your lifetime telling you that you are. It is the unwavering agreement that your calling was not some cosmic mistake, some oversight in heaven's grand plan, but a deliberate, intentional, and cherished divine purpose. It is the agreement that the image of God in you, though perhaps obscured by trauma or doubt, is not damaged beyond receiving, not fractured beyond restoration, but is fully capable of radiating His glory. It is the profound, liberating agreement that you are not waiting to become someone worthy of this magnificent calling, this divine destiny. You already are, right now, in this very moment, not because of what you have meticulously done, not because of your accomplishments or your perfection, but purely, entirely, exquisitely, because of who made you and why. You are worthy because He created you and declared you so. That agreement, made at the root level of your being, not merely spoken as a fleeting declaration, but received deeply as an unshakable, foundational reality within your spirit. That is precisely where the actual, tangible shift happens. That is where the cycle of delay and self-sabotage finally, definitively breaks. That is where the door that has been standing stubbornly in front of you, teasing you with its potential, finally, miraculously, opens wide from the inside, because you have unlocked it with the truth of your God-given identity. And here is the most beautiful, most empowering truth of all. You do not need a perfect moment to make this agreement. You do not need to wait for more clarity to descend upon you like a spiritual fog lifting. You do not need to resolve every single question that still echoes in your mind, or heal every single wound that still tenders your heart, or reach some elusive, invisible threshold of spiritual maturity that seems forever just beyond your grasp. You can make this agreement right now, in this very moment, with everything still unresolved, with everything still tender, with everything still wonderfully, terrifyingly uncertain. Because that, my friend, is the very nature of true faith. It is not certainty pursued until it finally becomes comfortable and predictable. No, faith is the courageous, radical agreement made before the evidence arrives, before the full picture is revealed. It is the audacious, trembling hand extended toward a God who is already, relentlessly, lovingly moving toward you, his arms open wide, waiting to embrace you in your wholehearted trust. Before you sleep tonight, before you lay your head down, I want you to take a moment. Place your hand gently on your chest, right where that sacred fire has been burning, sometimes faintly, sometimes fiercely, but always present. And speak these powerful, liberating words over yourself. Let them vibrate through your spirit, through every cell of your being, sealing this new agreement. I release the agreement that my delay was rejection. I release the self-protection that I built, brick by brick, around the most sacred, most vulnerable thing inside me. I release the half-surrender, the hedging, the holding back, and I choose the whole thing. All of it, every consequence, every cost, every unknown road ahead, every risk of heartbreak. I confess the crack in my faith, the places where I have doubted, the places where I have grown numb, and I bring it honestly, without shame, to the God who meets me, not in my perfection, but in my radical honesty. I break every agreement I have ever made, consciously or unconsciously, with the insidious lie that I am not worthy, not capable, not legitimate enough to carry what heaven itself has intricately placed within me. I am not a mistake. I am not disqualified. I did not miss it. The assignment is still mine, burning brighter than ever. The calling is still intact, resonating with divine purpose. The fire in my chest is not anxiety, not fear, not chaos. It is activation, it is divine energy stirring, it is the Spirit moving. And I step forward today, not because I feel ready, not because I feel perfectly equipped, not because I feel worthy in my own strength, but because I am chosen. And the chosen do not wait until they feel worthy to move. They walk, they stride, they advance, because God already said so, because His word is the ultimate authority. I am seen, deeply seen by heaven. I am known, intimately known by my Creator. I am armed with divine power and purpose, and I am exactly where I am supposed to be, ready for the next sacred step of my redemption arc. Now drop a comment below and tell me, what is the one thing this message confirmed that your spirit already knew, but you have been afraid to fully accept? Let the community see your breakthrough beginning in real time. And if this message armed your spirit today, if it ignited a fresh fire within you, share it with someone who is standing in the corridor, someone who needs to know right now that what they have been feeling, what they have been experiencing, is not the end of their story. It is in fact the courageous, powerful beginning of the most important, most transformative season of their entire life.